So my name is Kristen Mustad. I'm the owner of Nautilus Reels. Here at Golden Fly Shop, and happy to be here, seeing the new space, really cool layout, and tell you a little about Nautilus Reels.
After having Kristen in the shop and being able to really break down the Nautilus Reels, we thought there was no better way to put them to the test and get the crew out on the water, right? Here at Golden Fly Shop, we've been making a lot of moves and have a lot of expansion going on, and it was nice to kind of get the crew together. It's nice to get the crew together and talk some shit is what I want to say.
Let's go eat some tacos! Oh, man, what a fish!
Ready?
Brown trout are my favorite fish. And you know, the only thing that we wanted to be sure was that our trout reels were safe in saltwater or brackish water. I didn't want to have bronze bushings in there. That meant I had to have a steel shaft, which added weight. And so we did a bunch of research, found some great thermoplastic bushings, and then allowed us to build a far superior X series reel that we have today.
We are out here laying waste to some Nautilus reels on the water here.
Betas and caddis.
I looked at this old reel company. It was called Old Florida Fly Reels, and read a newspaper article about it, and it looked like the owner was tired, and I went to meet with him, and he was willing to sell. And so I went in there pretty much blind, did my forecast, thought I was gonna break even within a few months. It was great. Then really quickly realized we were pretty broke, and I needed to reinvent the whole deal. So we came up with the name Nautilus, came up with a reel design, came up with what was the first sealed drag in the fly reel, really.
Couple on the board, Kevin. What are they eating?
Black and coffee, probably my favorite color on this river. Works all year round.
It's been a fun morning fishing the G Luna series. Got the NRX Plus and the NRX Plus LP on the boat, paired with some Nautiluses. Feeding fish ridiculously sized flies for the winter, which, like I said, just crummy day all day.
The first reel we did was just a cork disc that as you tighten it, the oil that lubed the cork would flow to the bottom of it, and when you loosen the drag again, it would come back on the corks. It was self-lubricating the whole time, so it was a maintenance-free cork reel. And then we wanted to mess with carbon fiber. We decided we were going to include a cork washer in there to insulate the bearing from the carbon fiber and the heat that it produced, and the spool was latched onto the top of this brake unit that acted like a huge heat sink. We ended up putting on a red plate on the back of the drag system because I wanted to have the Brembo brakes of the fly fishing industry. It looked like brake calipers almost. But yeah, you know, we still run cork in these reels. We still run cork in the NVs. Honestly, we could have, even the glue we use to bake on the carbon fiber is an insulator. But at the time we brought out the carbon fiber drag, nobody in the industry that was big game fishing trusted anything but cork. And so we said, okay, let's leave the cork in there because it'll give them the option of, hey, well, it's got cork, so maybe it's good anyway. But nobody had really had any success with a carbon fiber drag as being like the big reliable saltwater reel. It was all the cork drag stuff. But we keep it in there to this day. So it's a vibration dampener as well. So, but I mean, you could do all that with synthetics. It's just, I guess, the romantic part of the big game fishing world that we still want to keep in there.
Don't go for a premature. Drop it. Come on, yeah. Hold tight.
It's good. You're good.
Go forward.
Back up. Spin. Nice. Yeah, Kev.
Oh! What do you call that? Bacon? Bacon ham? Is that a GBL?
Fishing the Nautilus XM today. Extremely light. Haven't had it, you know, seize or lock or do anything funky, and it's cold out. You know, it's cold enough to wear gloves. And, question why you're out here, but we've pulled on a few good fish, and it's been a blast. Nautilus has definitely brought some breaks when we needed them. Kept some big fish out of the rapids and the plunges. And in one word, burly. It's a fully sealed system. Nautilus out of Miami. You know, they're built tough, dude. Haven't had any noises, problems, seizing of the drags, anything like that. And it's been cold. They're great. Oh, there it is. Oh, but Cam, I blew another one. I'm dead serious.
And then we went into the trout world, and people were really doubting that a saltwater fly reel company could put out a decent trout reel. And growing up as a trout fisherman, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to make it light. That's why we keep coming up with new stuff and cool stuff, is because we're always thinking about the next. I mean, if the screws on these hubs, people were concerned that they would rattle loose, and we don't want to Loctite them because you guys have to open them up. So we went to our screw manufacturer and we said, hey, on the bigger bolts, you will put nylon patches on them. Have you seen that on big bolts? So they don't rattle. It's a vibration dampener, so they don't come loose like a Loctite. And they said, well, we don't do that on tiny screws. Can you try it? And they did it for us. So yeah, but those little things that matter. You know, we could have put a crappy Loctite on there, a really light one, which wouldn't have worked in the long run. That's my favorite part. Building new reels, coming up with new designs. It's a lot of fun. And every time I go out on the shop floor, there's some other idea, whether it's how to hold the reel in the machine or, you know, how to make a different cut better, easier, simpler. And all our reels, it's been an ongoing design change from day one. And if you picked up an X reel from the first run, I could point out 3 or 4 things that are different on the one that's run today that nobody even notices. But we're improving the product. Not that the first one wasn't right, but we just find ways to make it even better.
I haven't touched a thing down here. It's been brutal. All right. We gotta find us a truth. We had too much fun, dude. It was a blast, right? Between the fish, the dudes, there's not much else you can really ask for. Gosh. And then to run into a couple of fish like that, I'll get anyone going, right? I had a great float trip, was lucky enough to hook into some really nice fish, including a Stunner River Brown. Sitting on the back of the boat, yelling at the boys, barking around, and yeah, line went tight. Was certain it was the bottom, and felt slow head shakes back and forth, the thing that makes every angler's stomach drop. And you know, 10 minutes later, and yelling and commotion, we had a beautiful brown trout on that.
Oh, dude!
Yeah.
Oh, dude! Let's go eat some tacos!
Streamer in the back. Throw that shit in the back, kid. Spent a lot of time working deep holding water, low and slow, and looking for kind of those winter lies still. And we were lucky enough to kind of find fish sitting in some side channels. We had pounded the banks all day and that kind of stuff, and came through kind of a little bit of a pour over, through a cast, and basically had the line dead drifting, and was lucky enough to go tight and kind of an awkward channel sitting off of a main run.
We've never had a reel blow up. We always get people calling saying, man, my reel blew up. And in the case of a CCFX2, the hub screws weren't tightened down, so the hub came off, or the guy didn't tighten down the spool and the spool flew off, but we've never had a drag fail catastrophically ever. So that's pretty cool. And I'll add to that To this day, we still don't have a full-time repair employee. Rust never sleeps, and so we're just constantly trying to figure out the next product.
Man,